Good morning. It's a bright, nice, very nice Saturday morning, and I started about an hour ago with this little experiment, and I was struggling with it. So I just thought, what the heck, I'm just going to record me trying to do something. You know, instead of having it all working and everything set up, I'm just going ahead and show you what I'm attempting to do. Oh, jeez. What I'm attempting to do is, this morning I was going to do some further testing of my HDTV antenna and versus my little Discone antenna that I got from Radio Shack. It's a little tiny. If you look at it, you would say that's not a Discone antenna, but it's kind of a Discone antenna in that it's a wideband antenna, and it goes from 30 megahertz to about a gigahertz, and it kind of gives you fair performance over the entire band. So that's what's nice about it, and I've done videos on that particular antenna. So this morning I was going to attempt again to compare. Really, I'm comparing the HDTV antenna that I got, which is an antenna that was designed for receiving HDTV signals, and I'm trying to use it for other signals than just HDTV. Now, it does have a preamplifier built into it, but that preamplifier theoretically is tuned for the HDTV frequencies, of which there's multiple. So it's not going to necessarily work very good on frequencies outside of those specifications. But that's the idea. We're going to experiment and see what it can do for us. So I had done a video several shows ago where I tested the two antennas, one versus the other, using my scanner radio and using the NOAA weather frequencies, which is 1.62, 0.45 and up, right in that little narrow band, knowing that a review of the specs for the HDTV antenna didn't show any specs for that range because it wasn't designed for that. So we're going to ignore that and move on. So I did some testing. It was kind of inconclusive. They both did a fair job. Now, those antennas, the NOAA weather station antennas, are about, I'm guessing, 35 miles from me, line of sight. And so I got a pretty good location I could pick those up. And I was just mainly using those frequencies because they are broadcast, they're continuous. You've got a signal there all the time, so it's easy to compare antennas. Unlike a signal that's there for a while and then it's not there for a long time and there for a while. So that's why I used it, even though it was not good frequencies for the HDTV antenna's preamplifier. So this morning, I set up on my computer that I have down in there in my workshop, I set up the TV Dongle, which can be used for a wideband receiver program called SD-Sharp, and it will tune that dongle. Well, it will tune it all over the spectrum, but the dongle is only good for about 30 megahertz to 1 or 2 gigahertz, because it was originally designed again for TV. Unfortunately, it wasn't designed for TV in the United States, the way it's set up in the United States, especially now, since everything on TV in the United States is digital. How did I get off on that tangent? Oh my gosh. So anyway, I was doing that this morning, and I wasn't really successful. I kind of, intermittently successful. But I thought, what the heck? Instead of trying to get everything working and polished and set up before I do my video, I'm just going to show you where I'm at. So this is just Tom experimenting in his workshop. Okay, so here we go. I probably wasted 10 minutes of my video on all that explanation. So here we are. I've got SD Sharp running on my little computer, and it seems to be kind of overwhelming my little computer. So I have to, as a matter of fact, I'll do it right now. I need to shut everything else off. We'll close that down. It was driving me nuts first thing this morning. Apparently, depending on what kind of software you've got loaded on a computer, when you first turn a computer on, it does a whole bunch of housekeeping that you don't even know what's going on, depending, like I say, what software you got loaded. This computer doesn't have that much software loaded, so I was surprised that that was going on. So anyway, first thing this morning when I was trying to run SD Sharp, it didn't appear to be working because I couldn't change functions. I couldn't change the mode, whether it's FM or AM. It would just didn't seem to react. Well, after about 5 minutes and all that housekeeping, I guess, got finished. Then it started working, but it's still a little sluggish, but I think it's going to be okay. So anyway, we've got that running. We've got it, of course, connected to our TV dongle, our $20 TV dongle. And the TV dongle is getting its antenna from an antenna switch, which allows me to switch between the HDTV and the Discone antenna, and no antenna. So, what I'm showing you right here, okay, it's not running. I got it stopped. So let's start it. And I'm going to turn the volume down. We're mainly interested in, and this is the beauty of using the TV dongle and a program like SD Sharp, is you get visual indications. So it's much easier to compare things like two antennas when you have this visual indication. So we're up in 461 megahertz. That's kind of up there near a business band, so I was hoping I could hear some business activity, although it's a Saturday, so it's not going to be real busy. Well, there was something that just came in right there. If I can tune to that, see if it'll come back. There's some over here. Let me see where the camera is pointing. Maybe I need to zoom in now that I've babbled. Yeah, let me do that. So you see my setup now. Well, you see part of it. And let me zoom in to the screen a little bit so you can better see what I'm talking about. What I really need, and I don't have it on this computer yet, is I need, oops, I just kicked the camera, so what do we got here? Yeah, it's still pretty much on the screen. I really need a screen capture program so that I don't have to take a video of this monitor, because that's usually not as good. But I haven't done that yet either. It's always something. So up here, and I don't know if you're familiar with SD Sharp, but up here I'm showing a spectrum of the radio's reception. And this is going from, right now it's going from 459.9 megahertz to over here it's 462 point something megahertz. So this is a section of the RF band. And here is, I don't know what all these little spikes are. I don't know what that is. Now, right now, I'm on the Discone antenna. Now, I'm going to, and I'm not hearing, I don't see any real activity. Well, there's another one that come up here again. Let me try this guy. Maybe he's more active. Could be noise. But you can see there's not, right this minute, there's not a lot of strong signals. And you see every once in a while something will come in. Earlier I was getting, let me go to that some business, I have no idea what it was, at 461.825. Oop, too far. Okay. Yeah, still nothing going on here. So again, and this is what I was fighting with, and I finally just gave up and decided to do a video. And then down here, it gives you what they call a waterfall, which is an indicator. Actually shows you the activity in a different form of what's going on in this spectrum. And I'm not going to go through SD Sharp in this video, so let me go down. I've saved a couple other ones down here someplace under my, there it is, on my frequency manager. So we can go back to NOAA radio, theoretically. Okay, now what we have here, and I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, you see a signal here. It's pretty down in the mud. This is one of the NOAA weather stations near me that I don't get as well as the other one. Now here's the one I normally listen to, but you can see it's really strong. So I chose and I saved this one over here because it's not as strong. And I'm going to just let you listen to it for a second. And this is at 162.550. And the way I can tell, obviously, the difference between the two is this has a woman's voice, and the other one, which is real strong, has a man's voice.
Issued at 5:02 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time today. North winds around 5 knots, winds becoming northwest around 10 knots in the afternoon. Seas 2 feet or less, and inland waters a light chop tonight.
Okay, and like I said, the beauty of this setup is I can graphically see what the signal looks like. Now, keep in mind, you're using a TV dongle, so that's going to have some effect on the results, but the TV dongle is used for both antennas, so that should not be a factor as far as the antennas goes. Might be because of the impedance of the antenna. Who knows? Who knows? So anyway, what I'm going to do now, right now I'm on the Discone antenna, and there's a way to, let me see here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, I can change this. I can change the position of this. So since there's so much noise here, let's move that down so that I can get a better idea of the signal itself. So let me change the offset. I'm going to move it down. There we go. That's a little easier to see the difference. And I'm trying to remember. I think that, oh, I know what that is. Okay, let's go up here. There are so many options under this SD Sharp. It really blows your mind how many things you can do with. You can just, make a hobby of just playing with SD Sharp. That's how many options are. And I'm surely no expert. I've just scratched the surface. But anyway, I come down here. I think it's squelch. Now if I see if I change, no, that's not the parameter. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what the parameter is that changes this line so I could use it for a reference. But anyway, that doesn't matter, because the other nice thing about this program, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but I'll just tell you about it. when you move the pointer over a particular frequency, it tells you the frequency and it tells you the signal strength. That's going to be real useful. So I'm going to move that pointer right over that point. And it says I'm at 162, the pointer is at 162.5494 megahertz, which is slightly off from the broadcast frequency, which is 162.550. So it's pretty close. And I can zoom in using this button over here, this slider. So you can see I'm a little bit off of the peak. I don't know why I'm bothered. Well, that's close enough. So anyway, there's the peak, and it's telling me, if I put this back, it's telling me right now that signal is minus 46.6 dB. So now we got a reference, and I'm going to write that down. 46.67 with a Discone. Now I can switch the antennas. So here's no antenna, which means it's just, I don't know what that is when I've got that should be grounded. So I'm still getting pretty good strong signal. I'm still getting, well, 46.6. So apparently this switch is letting the signal bleed in. So not that great a switch, because I'm on supposedly the either ground or neutral position. So I shouldn't be getting any effect of an antenna. So it kind of makes me worry about this switch, and maybe it's really letting both antennas come in. I don't know. Or maybe that's just the coax cable that goes from the dongle to the switch is acting as an antenna. But the signal level is about the same as no antenna. So now we're going to go over to the HDTV antenna. And right now I have the preamplifier turned off. Now notice that, now wait a minute, maybe I'm, okay. The one thing I have to be careful of is, depending where the arrow is pointing, it's pointing to actually a point on the graph, not the level of the signal. Yeah, I learned something there. So let's go back and put the arrow at the peak of this signal. And it is varying. So right now, I'm on the HDTV antenna with no preamplifier, and it's showing I'm getting a peak of minus 42.42. Okay, now I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to turn on the preamplifier. Whoa! Look at that. Now, if I move my arrow back up, we're way up here at about minus 5.45 dB, and this particular reading, the closer it is to zero or positive, the stronger the signal, theoretically. Now, also notice that the noise floor, this is right here where all these signals are, it jumped way up. So that's one of the disadvantages of using a preamplifier, is you increase the noise floor. But if I'm turn up the audio, now this is interesting. I got a male voice now. I thought it was only female, but I guess they switch back and forth. Anyway, not important. So you can see that signal's coming in real strong now. I'll turn the preamplifier off. Oh, he stopped. And then we get a computer voice. and then they stop talking.
These are the 8 a.m.
There she is.
operations for the local area on Saturday.
There's a preamplifier off. Big difference. Big difference. And even though, and I'll turn it back on,
Relative humidity
even though that preamplifier boosts the noise level, it boosts the signal strong enough that it's much clearer.
Water Airport.
So that's definitely an improvement. Okay, now we'll compare the HDTV, let me turn her down.
The wind was calm.
The HDTV antenna with its preamplifier compared to the Discone antenna. So we're sitting at about -7 right now. We're going to switch the antennas. Whoa, big difference. So on this frequency, it does a big it makes a big difference on the reception on this frequency, which I didn't notice so much when I was just trying to use the crude S meter on my scanner and just listening to the signal. So that's what I was hoping this would do for me, in that it gives me a better representation of the signal strength. So let's go down a little bit, and I'm going to try to wrap this up because I've been babbling long enough. Now let's try another frequency. We're going to try the bottom end of the FM band. Okay, this is 89.7 megahertz, which is a station that's about, I would guess, 30-40 miles from me, line of sight. And it's not a very strong FM station. It's run by the University of South Florida. So their signal is, to me, is usually pretty weak. And you can see right now, I've got to bring this back in, reduce the zoom, because now we're talking about FM, and it's a wider signal. So let me reduce that, and I'm going to go all the way. Well, maybe not that far. Okay, so here's the station right here, and you can see that it's struggling to get through. Now, again, I'm on my Discone, so let's turn the volume up so you can listen to it.
How can I promise miracles when I come? But with the cooperation of our neighbors,
Pretty good signal. The only thing I can detect is I hear some hiss in the background.
I think it will take us a much shorter time to deal with them.
Okay,
In the past 6 weeks,
so
Nigeria's military
let's
has
turn the
recorded
volume
success.
back down. And we're on the Discone. We're going to switch back over to the HDTV with the preamplifier on. And watch the signal. Wow. See that noise floor go way up, but the signal itself went up. So let's listen and see what we hear.
Top priorities.
I made that promise, and I hope Nigerians will give me the opportunity
Okay,
to see what
the hiss I was hearing in background is almost gone. So now I've got good strong signal, and it's overriding the hiss. So I'm going to continue to play with this and try to find some other frequencies in different bands that maybe, or most likely, the HDTV antenna with this preamplifier will do better. For instance, I was trying that business band, and let me just go to it real quick. I don't have it saved. Let's go to say 63 or something like that. Now, when I used the frequency manager and pulled up that FM station, it pulled up all the variables associated with that. So now I'm stuck in the wide FM mode. So let's go to narrow FM. Nothing there. I'm on the HDTV antenna with the preamp, and it's pretty quiet here where I'm at. Need to go a little higher. We're only up 43. There's 69. Let's go down a couple megahertz. Okay, let's change this contrast. Now we got a lot of noise. And we'll change the range. Oh, there's a signal right there. Let's see if I can get over to it before it goes away. Okay. There was a transmission right there. I missed it. Okay, that's a pulse going out. Could be a pager. So that's not a very good signal to watch because it's only there for half a second. Now here's a transmission over here. That actually looked like voice. And once you get into this business band, especially during the week, you got signals all over the place. Not as active on the weekend. So anyway, that's where I'm at. No telling how long this video is run, so I better cut it off. If you enjoyed this type of show where I'm just experimenting and making my usual mistakes and everything, please give me a thumbs up, and better yet, leave a comment. I do a lot of activity with my radios that you don't see because it's basically not polished. It's kind of, I get a lot of failures. So if you like this kind of video, and the other thing I could do is I could actually do a hangout, which, well, a hangout, you're not restricted by the length of your show. Where here I'm using a video camera and it's only got a card that'll hold about 50 minutes of video, so I'm restricted. And I know there's a couple of YouTubers that do that on a periodic basis, like every 2 weeks or once a week. And so far, their listeners have enjoyed it. Of course, they're good at it. It makes a big difference. So anyway, if you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.